Hey everybody, welcome back. Another Gravity Ace stream. And guess I'll just jump right into it. Sorry I'm a little late tonight. I'm trying to stick to a schedule. Monday night, Thursday night, Saturday. It's just hard right now. It's hard to get anything on any kind of schedule right now. Let's see. The old to-do list. I think I finally finished this. The campaign level select system is basically done for now. Did a lot of art polish last couple of days. And I even finished up this procedural level art, which we'll call it done for now. But I'll show you guys how that works and what it is. So, looking at the levels, the first thing you'll notice is, I've got the different sectors on the map now. I did a little bit of polishing here in the corners, just a little bit of visual finessing to make this look a little nicer. Did the corners, right? Little doodads and what's-its here. And to make it look nicer, there's a grid now behind everything. And then I've got lots of labels on here now, a lot of UI work. So I've got all these labels in now, so as you select a level, you can see all these values change. And I've got, countdowns here. And when you... Oh man, my ankle itches. Hey, Andrew. When you run it now, you can see I've got this sector is complete. It's all green. This sector's in progress. Here's the next levels I can play. And then these levels are all locked. This level's locked. And because I haven't finished this sector yet, I can't go into any of these sectors. They're completely locked. It should be very clear that you need to steal the reactor cores to progress to the next sector. There's a message here in the corner. Steal reactor cores to unlock sectors. And then you've got a handy countdown here. So here you've got 6 out of 6. Here you've got 0, 0. And here you've got 3 out of 6. And then you can play a level. I also did some work on polishing the controls. Watch this button up here. I finally figured this out. So when I touch the gamepad, it switches. And I went through all the screens and added those where it makes sense. So now if you're playing with the gamepad, you can see little B and A buttons here and there, right? Down there at the bottom of the screen. And if you touch the mouse, it goes back to the mouse controls. Touch the gamepad, and it goes back to the gamepad controls. So I like that. So then the last thing I did on this guy was I thought it'd be cool to add a little procedural generation here. So I had this box here in the corner, and I wasn't sure what to put in it. My first idea was to have the lieutenant in here telling you something, but it's not very dynamic. And then I'm not sure where I would put her speech bubble anyway. It was some design issues there. So I decided to do this instead. What do you think of that? So this is a procedurally generated asteroid simulating a long-range scan of the target. The entrance has been marked. We're ready for the attack run. And each level has its own different asteroid. They're all randomly generated, but you can see as I go back to the level, like level 11, right? It's always the same. Level 10 is always the same. Yeah, I thought that turned out pretty nice. So the way that works, this is a 2D game. But the way that works is I have a 3D scene in my 2D game. Here's the base scene here. And you can see I've got a planet spatial. And inside that, I've got a world environment with some, background color, things like that. I've got a sun for the lighting. I have the planet mesh itself. And then I've got the entrance, which is this light beam here shooting out of it, and a spotlight, and a camera, of course. Right, there's the camera. And here's the camera's view. This is what the camera sees. And as I play with the seed here, it changes. So there's basically a infinite number of worlds here. Something like 4 billion, I think. But yeah, pretty simple. So this is basically just a sphere mesh with a material on it. And the material has a little shader on it. And the shader takes a couple of textures. These are all noise textures and a color. And what it does with the different noise textures is it warps the vertices of the circle with the noise and the crater texture. And then this one kind of just makes it a little bit bumpy. And then this one subtracts kind of a bigger area of it to make it more lopsided and deformed. And then there's a fragment color shader, which takes this other noise texture and draws, these patterns on it, basically. And it uses the ocean color as the base color, and then uses the noise texture to draw this other red color on top of it. Pretty nice. I'm pretty happy with that. And then, so it's a 3D scene, right? So in here, this is not 3D anymore. The way this works is I have my planet scene. That's this scene here. I have it here. I put it inside of a viewport. And the way viewports work is it's just like a portal. It's like a window into a scene. So you put your scene inside of a viewport, and then you can create a sprite or a texture rectangle, some kind of 2D thing, and you can tell it, use a viewport texture. And then you just tell it what viewport it should be using as the texture. And it takes that, whatever this sees, and makes it a texture for this. And because the way this is scaled up, my viewport size is only 64 by 64, but my texture is actually like 120 by 120, which is where you get the pixelation. That's where the pixelation comes from. And because this is a 2D scene and the settings I have in the game for 2D are all pixelated as well. So it ends up taking this 3D thing and pixelates it. Looks pretty nice. Pretty happy with it. Ended up being pretty simple to execute. The tricky part was just, coming up with a nice looking asteroid. But I think it looks pretty good. So now you've got some more atmosphere here as you're playing the game. You're like, ooh, where am I going? Neat. And then the planet scene itself, whenever you select a level in the level chooser, what it does is it gets the planet scene here, and it sets the planet scene's random seed to a integer hash of the level file path. So every level in the game has its own unique file path. This hash is a unique integer representing that string. Pass that into random seed, and then in planet here, when you set random seed, it calls this. And set seed seeds the random number generator with that value. That way, every time you run this, you'll get the same set of random numbers based on that seed as you did last time. As long as the seed doesn't change, the random numbers will be the same. So it's random and procedural, but it's the same random and procedural for each level, each run. And then it just does a bunch of stuff. It modifies the noise a little bit, modifies the mesh, the height of it and the size of the mesh, changes its rotation, moves the sun around, and changes the rotation speed of the asteroid itself. It doesn't look as good in 3D, I think, as it does in 2D. I think that looks cooler. But anyway, so that was neat. That was fun, actually, to do. And it was a nice new technique, I guess, for, creating 2D graphics using a 3D camera. And hardly any overhead. I think this isn't showing it. There it is. Frames per second, still up there about 1,000 frames per second in this scene. So, yeah, it runs great. Not a problem performance-wise. So, yeah, I'm going to call this level select done for right now. When I do the user level select, I can reuse this, and I can reuse this. And every user created custom level will get its own unique image as well. I've thought about the idea of maybe modifying this a little bit so that it has some features of the level itself, but I don't know. I think I like the mystery. I might just leave it this way. Anyway, I'm done with it for now. So, procedural level art. I thought it was an optional, but I'm going to keep it. I think it's done. I need to work on this thing next. This thing. All these things here in my to-do list, not started, are pretty much optional things. Well, not all of them. I need to do some of them, but I can wait a little bit on some of these things. I just need to have, like these are optional. Oh, this is done. This I need to do, but these can wait a little bit until like just before launch, I guess. These are the ones that I really need to do before I launch the thing. And there's a bunch of chores in here. I need to make a new trailer. I need to add the newsletter sign up in the game. Update the screenshots, add GIFs to the store pages. There's a bunch of little boring stuff to do before I can actually launch this thing. And a couple of fun things. One thing I need to do that's going to be kind of fun is this coin problem. Coins. People like the coins, but they also don't like the coins. And I think it's partly a problem of... It's two different problems. Some people just aren't going to like collectible things. And that's fine. I'm not going to take them out. The other problem is sometimes they're hard to see. Sometimes people miss them. That is a real problem. Not a major one. I think I can make that change pretty easily. Bigger problem is that the coins don't really do anything. And so they feel a little empty, So my idea here is to do a couple of things. One, I think I'm going to change it so that coins can't appear inside of walls. Right now, they don't have any collision, so they can appear inside of anything, which is convenient, program-wise, but not so convenient play-wise. And then after you collect a few of them, I think I'm going to double the gun power for just a short amount of time. So they give you a little buff to your gun. And I'm going to do a similar thing with the astronauts. Right now you get points for collecting the astronauts, but not much else. And I was thinking, well, how about if we collect a couple of living people, the narrative can be like each person you beam up buffs. He's like an engineer or something, and so he improves your shields for 5 seconds. So during that time, your shield can maybe take a couple extra hits, something like that. So I'll need to play with those values and see what it is, but that's the idea. Let's just go into the coin problem, I guess. Let's see what we can do about making coins not appear inside of walls. So I have I call them pickups in the game, in the code, because they didn't look like coins before. They just look like coins now. They're just things you pick up. So I call this the pickup class. This is a pickup spawner, basically. And you tell it where you want them, and it dumps out 10. So all over the place, the game just calls pickup spawn vector 2, and it shoots out 10 of these things. And then the pickups themselves, hey, JB Shed. JB Sheds, plural. The pickup itself is a rigid body, does a bunch of stuff. It knows how to be picked up by the player, blah, blah, blah. So this, I think here is where I want to, tell it don't spawn inside of walls. Right? Not there. Like here, right? It needs to test this position and see if there's a collision there, and if there is, don't put it there. Or I can make these, because they do have a collision. Interesting. It's a big-ass collision. $150. Oh, I see. It's because when this collision... Well, let's see what it's doing. There's a signal here. Body entered. Aha. Okay, so this collision is the... what do you call it? When the player can collide with this. So when the player gets in this side of the circle, then the pickup knows to fly to the player. So I was thinking I could make this collision collide with the world, which is all the walls. Let's just try that and see what happens. I have a feeling because this is so big, it's going to be weird. Hey, JB, asteroid style game, huh? Thank you, thank you. Oh, good Lord. How can I be attracting spam when I have so few followers? What a waste of time. Blocked. So weird. Yeah, that's the first time that's ever happened to me too. That's weird. You should share a link to your game, JB. I would love to check it out. It seems like a rite of passage to make a space game. So I'll make this collide with the world. Let's just see what happens. I have a feeling it's going to be weird. But let's see. Let's go to a test level. And let's put something we can blow up right here. And then we'll go blow some stuff up and see what happens. Okay, so that's not having the effect that I thought it might. They're still spawning inside of the wall. This collision, this guy, should be colliding with, well, let's do that too. Nope, still, yeah, come on. Still not colliding. That's weird. Not disabled. Not disabled. What does that code do? Creates pickup, random directioned, blah, blah, blah. Yep, that's fine. Should be colliding with the world. Let me just reload it and see what happens. Maybe there's something in the pickup code itself. You know, it's funny, sitting down here streaming while I code, I'm learning that I don't code very well when I'm talking. Can't talk and code at the same time. Nothing about the collision in there. So this rigid body, oh, it's not a rigid body. That's why. That's why it's not working. Because it's not a rigid body. Rigid bodies don't bounce off of things. Oh, cool. Game dev class, huh? Did you teach it in, was it a Unity class? Or was it a Godot class or Game Maker class? Yeah, so this isn't colliding with the walls automatically and doing anything. It is colliding, but Area 2Ds don't automatically react to the wall. They won't move and separate from the wall. If it was a rigid body, it would, but I'm not going to change this to be a rigid body. It's an Area 2D. So what I need to do is, in here, I need to say, I need to do a physics query and just make sure it's doing the right thing. So I'm going to copy some code again from the last time I did this. Your class was canceled? Yeah, so I'm going to copy this code. So here, I'm going to do this. And do this. And here, I'm going to say this. And then I'm going to say continue. What do you mean? Let's do that. So this is Godot engine, and I wrote a add-on for it that does that. For no reason in particular. I just had nothing else to do on a Sunday. So what this does is, thanks. It gets the current physics state of the world. Then it creates a shape, a circle with a radius of 16. Then it creates a physics query with that shape that will collide with walls. Then as I try to create each coin, it moves that coin to this position and does the query and to check if that shape collides with any walls at that position. And if it does, it's going to just try again. So it'll just keep looping as long as the coins are colliding with the wall. Otherwise, if it doesn't collide with the wall, then it'll add that child to the group and increase this stat. And the trouble here is that it's going to create less than 10. So I want to say created equals 0. And then I'll do while true. And then I'll do created plus equals 1. Right? And then if created 10, then break. So this will run more than 10 times because sometimes it'll collide with a wall. But when it doesn't, then it'll add it to the game and update this counter. And after it actually adds 10 of them, then it'll be done. State collide shape. Space state collide shape inside the if. Inside this if? Yeah, I mean, I could do this. Right? Could do that. Something like that. You could get stuck in an infinite loop. Yes, you definitely could. I don't think that I will. But yeah, it is possible. What you'd do to avoid that is you'd create another loop counter. And every time you go through the loop, you go loops plus equals 1. And then if loops greater than 100, break. So it'll create 10, but it'll only try 100 times. The trouble with this is that it's possible that it wouldn't create 10. I need to make sure it creates 10. I don't know. This is bad. I just want to see if this works, first of all. And then we can figure out how to make it better later. This is GD script. Look at that. Nothing got created. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but I definitely did. There was a little frame rate hitch there while it burned through 1,000 iterations and created nothing. So it is a good thing I put in that guard, because we would be in an infinite loop if I hadn't. Good catch, Robert. Let's see. So what I'm trying to do, let me take this out and I'll show you. Let's turn that off, that off, that off. What I'm trying to do is when you kill one of these guys, it dumps a bunch of coins on the screen. See those coins? And see these coins here, how they're stuck inside that wall? I'm trying to spawn them so that they don't start inside of a wall. And that's what this code is supposed to do. Right, so I create this physics query. Does the loop, moves the query to the pickup position, checks if it collides. If it does, just skips it, goes to the next one. Yeah, I mean, if I can't get this working, there's a bunch of different ways you could do it. There's a bunch of different ways you could do it. Another way, possibly a better way, would be to change the pickups into rigid bodies and have them collide with the wall, and they'll separate themselves. But doing that opens up a whole different can of worms that I don't want to deal with right now. Changing the type of an object, especially one that's so tightly integrated into the game already, changing its behavior at this point could be a problem. So I think I'm just going to have to go into the trusty old debugger in a sec. Yeah, see, it's just not doing it. Let's go into the trusty old debugger and see what's happening. Put a breakpoint there. And we'll restart. All right. So here we are in the loop. I've done, should be loops 1, right? It's the first loop, 0 been created. Gets an instance of the coin. Sets its position. And the position is POS. There it is, right there, right? Oh, look at this, space. Space is invalid. That could be the problem right there. Space is invalid. Moves the query. Gets the results of the query. It's an array. So it did say it collided with something. Maybe they're all colliding. That's the problem. Maybe my shape is too big. Let's just see. Just loop through here. Yeah. See, it's colliding again. It just keeps hitting wall. Every one. So that's telling me this is too big. Let's go to 4. Because I think those coins are something like 8. They're very small. This code's not going to work now, though. Let me just continue it and reload the level. Yeah, there they are. Hey, see, that worked that time. Boom. And see how none of them are in the wall, right? Hey, Isaiah Bidea. And friends, welcome. So these are in the wall. They didn't start in the wall. They moved into the wall. But see how they're just barely in. So that's okay. Although that brings up the point that I kind of want them to not ever be in the wall, which means I need to have them bounce off the wall, which means maybe rigid body is the thing. Hey, Isaiah Bidea, you are a Godot builder as well. Check this out. You and your followers will like this. This is Godot engine. This is the editor. And this is me typing some code into the editor. And then I'll delete some stuff. LOL. Yeah, my game doesn't have enough explosions, so I needed to put them in while I was typing as well. Let me restart this real quick. So that's actually, it's an improvement. It's an improvement. Right? I think that's an improvement. Even though it's kind of in the wall, it's not so deep in there. And they're still pretty easy to get. I mean, when I made this plugin, this is a plugin for the editor. I think you can get it on the asset store now. I put it out there. It's called Ridiculous Coding. And when I made this, I made it on a Sunday, and I spent about 12 hours doing exactly that. Just typing BS and deleting it for 12 hours. Keeps everybody on their toes, right? Like, you know if I'm doing any work. Hey, thanks for the follow, Isaiah. Yeah, all the sound effects and everything I made. I mean, you know, I bought sound packs and stuff, but all the sound in the game, I mixed myself and produced myself from that sound pack. And those explosion sounds and the typing and everything, these are all actual sounds from my game. If I do another game and stream it, then whatever sounds are in that game, I'll have to change the plugin sounds to match that game. What I want to do here is I'm going to check created and loops. And I'm just going to have this print those values out so that I can see if this is creating 10, how many loops it's taking to create 10. just so I can get a feel for what the performance is like here. Yeah, I did. I did make all the pixel art myself. And I'm pretty happy with it too. Oh, editor. Well, here, let me show you this. For the newcomers, this screen is new, and I just put the finishing touches on it today, actually. And this guy is a procedurally generated 3D asteroid that I put into a 2D viewport and loaded it into this 2D scene. Just for some little atmosphere when you're selecting levels. So let me bring up that level again, the editor, and then we'll play it again. And then, so this will be printing out those values for us so we can see how many loops it takes to create 10 coins. Just gonna blow up all of these. Now, what is going on here? Something terrible is happening. Yeah, so look, it's taking 40 tries to make 10 coins. 29 loops to make 10 coins. 63 loops to make 10 coins. 38 to make 10 coins. It's not so bad, but I mean, I would like it to only take 10 to make 10 coins. I would like it to be a little bit better. Oh no, that rock. Let me show you the rock. Do everything in Sprite. Here's the rock. That is hand animated. Yeah, so there's a bunch of, what is this? That's the base, some lines, some more details for 12 frames. But now that I figured out this technique, here, I'm tempted to go back and make my asteroids procedurally generated 3D objects that I put into the 2D world. Tempted, but I'm probably not going to do that. I've got to ship a game. I can't spend all my time polishing forever. Isaiah Baidea, what is my formal background? I'm a programmer by trade. Been doing it for a long time. Probably since I was like 10. And then professionally since I was, 22. And I've been doing web development for a long time. I have an electrical engineering degree. I don't have a computer science degree. I went to school for electrical engineering and then never did electrical engineering. But I learned a lot of cool stuff. I learned a lot of math, a lot of physics. There are reasons why you would want an electrical engineering degree, I guess. And then everything else, the music, sound effects, art, that's just something I've always been interested in. Part of the reason why I make games in the first place is because I want a creative outlet, you know? And I'm interested in drawing, and I'm interested in music, and I'm interested in programming. And this is the only thing that I know of where you can combine all three of those things and do all of them in one project. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing. I've been working on this game for about 2 years now. This didn't just spring up overnight. Where is that? Debug. Debug. Turn off the frames per second so I can see what I'm printing out better. I mean, don't hold me to it, but I'm thinking next month. I'm thinking October early access. We'll see. For my own sanity, I have to. I have to release it. I can't just keep working on this thing forever. It's driving me nuts. I like it, but it's driving me nuts. All right, problem at hand is that our shape query is running too much. I don't like it. It's messy. It has the potential for getting to 1,000 loops and not creating enough things. Could make this smaller again. And let's see, what do I call that? So I call it all over the place. So one thing I could do is do a query right at this position, see where the nearest wall is, figure out the normal, and then move the coins away from that wall along the normal. See you, Robert. But God, that sounds like a terrible amount of work. I mean, it's not a lot, but I just don't want to type all that in. It seems overly complicated. Seems like there would be an easier way to do this. I mean, and now that I've got the, you know, I can pass in the normal. Can I? No, I don't think I can. I won't have access to the normal. Hey, Vim. Hey, in case you guys didn't know, Vimlark is doing Vim Jam. There's over 1,000 participants. It starts this week, I think, right? The end of the week? And everybody should go join it. Vim Jam. Look at that. 1,173 people. Yeah. I think the easy way to do this, quote unquote easy way, and maybe it's not as risky as I thought, would be to get rid of all of this. I can have the engine do all this work for me. Yeah, this just has a bad smell. I can have the engine do all of this for me. But I need to redesign these a little bit. I need to change this into a rigid body 2D. Change this collision. Let's just try it. Let's try it. I'm going to change this to a rigid body. Okay, I'm going to have it not affected by gravity so they don't fall down. I'm going to let them report one contact. They can sleep, that's fine. I'll put on some damping factor, but I don't know what it'll be yet. In here, this collision I want to keep, but I don't want to make it the collision of the rigid body. I want to make it a area 2D. This will be the collision with the player. And I want to remove this signal. Yeah, I want to put these signals here. So it's called on pickup body entered and on pickup body exited. I'm going to use those same names. So this will be on, and I'm keeping the same names because I've already got code that, I've already got this code written. Right there. And I'm going to connect this other signal like that. Then I need a new collision right here. And we'll call it collision. I'm going to put it right there. And I'm going to give it a circle shape. Okay, it's right there. Let me turn this off so we can see better. Right, there's our collision right there. Do that. All right. Then I need to change the code for the script because it's not an area 2D now. It's a rigid body 2D. I don't need that because rigid bodies already have a linear velocity. This needs to change to integrate forces. And delta equals state dot get step. I think. State dot get step. Right. Integrate forces is a, it's like a custom physics that you can write for a rigid body. So the normal physics step will happen, and then this runs, and you can override whatever you like. And in this case, I'm overriding the linear velocity so that I can make the coins fly right at the player when you enter this area 2D. And because this guy is colliding with the world, which is all the walls in the game, it should bounce off of the walls all by itself And we can add a physics material to it to make sure it's bouncy. Like that. No gravity. It can sleep. Watch this. This is going to crash immediately. So now this is much simpler, right? I'm letting the engine do all the wall detection and bouncing off of things. Yep, get that kid to bed. Thanks for dropping by. I'll have the rest of this up on YouTube later. All right, let's just see what happens. Let's see what happens. Just instant death. Wow, hard lock. Oh, that's because I left this as a... I left it as an infinite loop. Let me bring up the old trusty source control explorer here and undo that. Yeah, undo. And let's put a couple of coins in the game just to make sure the static ones behave correctly as well. Ooh, that worked, but they acted a little weird. Those ones are looking fine. They're not detecting the player, I think, because when I created this area 2D, I didn't tell it what it collides with. Or did I? I did. Put you there. Collide with the player, right? Yep. And yep. Mm-hmm. You're enabled. Yep. All right. So it's getting there. Close. Let's see what happens here. Look, one of them went into the wall anyway. They're pushing the ship. Okay, so that's a problem. They're pushing the ship. I think when these things get beamed, they should turn off their collision. In range is what I want. I want to do collision dot disabled. Here I want collision dot disabled is false. That ought to fix it from pushing me. But I probably need to restart it. Yeah, that works. What is wrong with you, little fella? Wow. So this is what I was worried about, right? Nothing's ever as simple as you'd like. Maybe I don't want it colliding with the player, actually. I do want this one colliding with the player, but not this one. Because it flies towards the player. When it gets close enough, it dies. Let me restart this. Sometimes it doesn't reload everything. Just because you changed it in the editor. I think it has something to do with using preload. Man, just acting weird. I took something that worked perfectly fine and I made it weird. Why aren't the areas on these guys even working? Don't need that. Yeah, I do need that. Mm-hmm. Just acting weird. Okay. Something weird is going on here. Let's turn on my debug shapes so I can see where the collisions are and see what's on and what's not. Right, so that's the area collision. There's an area collision. It's not detecting me. Not detecting me. Right, but these ones, they mostly detected me, but some of them didn't. Some of them did, and some of them didn't. Why is that, you reckon? some of them did and some of them didn't. Maybe there's a clue. Okay. That could be it. So you call deferred, and what this does is whenever you're dealing with a physics simulation, you need to do things in tune with the physics simulation. And if you try to do something when the physics simulation isn't expecting it, then the physics simulation isn't going to work right. And that's what this warning means. I was trying to set disabled on the collision outside of the normal physics step, and sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. And the game's warning me right here, you can't do that. So what you do is instead, they even recommend use call deferred. And what that does is it just says do this, but do it later when it's safe. So it'll do it like at the end of the frame instead of right now. And there's another function, set deferred, which I don't know what that is. I'm gonna look it up right now and see what it is. I've always used call deferred. Okay, so it's the same thing. Call deferred calls a method and gives it this argument. Set deferred does a property and makes this assignment. These are functionally exactly the same. This is a method call and this is a property assignment. That's the only difference. Let's see if it works now. We might be getting close. Might be zeroing in here. Let's see if these get sucked in first. Negative. Negative. Didn't work. Turn off those collision shapes because I know they're right. No more warnings there. Maybe I had to reload this thing. Can't remember if I did since last time. All but one. Well, the warnings are gone. Hey, Vim. Put in a link to Vim Jam. Hopefully I got you some more signups. You're up to 1,200 now, buddy. That starts this week, doesn't it? Oh my goodness. 4 days away. Look at that. It's up to 1173. Are you panicking yet? Look at that countdown.
Hey there, how's it going? In the last couple years, I've participated in over 20 game jams. I've won, lost, failed to complete, and become a judge. So I guess you could say I really like the format. For me, jams are my favorite way to make a small experience for someone else to enjoy, without spending a ton of time on the project. Over the last several months, I've been asked quite a bit, when am I going to host a game jam? I usually said I wasn't because putting on a game jam is quite a lot of work, and I've already got too much going on with game design, YouTube, streaming, and more. But the idea of putting on my own game jam just sounded really appealing, and I couldn't get it out of my head. Over the last 2 years, I've done a lot of game jams with the 8 Bits to Infinity community, and I've been a judge for their jams for a while now. They're a great community that runs regular game jams, and they have an emphasis on giving feedback to help designers grow in their abilities. Taking part in their jams and getting feedback has been a big part of me getting better at making games. Plus, they have a jam format that I just absolutely love. Along with the normal theme that's announced at the start of the jam, there's also a design focus that helps spark ideas. Past focuses have been things like 2-button controls, text only, asymmetrical, puzzle, speedrun, etc. I'm a huge believer that restrictions breed creativity, and this aspect of the 8-bit jams has always made them some of my favorites. So I'm happy to announce that I'm teaming up with 8 Bits to Infinity for what we're calling the Vim Jam. It will be starting on September 18th and ending on the 25th. A 7-day game jam with the design focus of collectibles. Collectibles can be many things, from coins to party members to cards and more. So in some way, the game will need to allow players to collect something. I feel it's a fairly open restriction to help get the creative juices flowing. I'll be posting a video on this channel on September 18th, announcing the theme that you'll need to pair with this focus. You can use any engine, as long as the submitted game can at least be run in the browser or on Windows. All of the important rules, info, as well as the join button can be found at itch.io/jam/vimjam.
I'm excited. It's going to be fun. Starts September 18th. Goes for 1 week. And then a week of judging. All right. Yep. Interesting. I mean, it's going to be something like 30%, 40%. You're going to have 400 games to play, my friend. All right, let's just see what happens here. I'm going to try this one more time. And if I can't get it right now, I am going to chalk it up to can't code and talk at the same time, or my brain is fried, or something along those lines. Let's look at the game tree, the level. Let's find our coins. Here's one. And we'll look at its collision stuff. So it's area 2D, right? Has the right mask. Hey, NZ, the collision is not disabled. It is a circle shape. Oh. Yeah, no, that's right. It's gigantic. And that all looks right. That all looks right. And it's got a signal for body entered. Body exited. And I know I'm using this pattern someplace else. Gravity wells. No, that's just an area 2D. Where else am I using this? Maybe on the shields? No. Ship? No. Fuel? No. Interesting. I know I was using this somewhere else. Okay. How about this? Right, there it is. So I've got a static body with an area 2D inside. It has some signals. Right, calling back into this thingy. And the setup on this guy is... I can ignore that, it's fine. Got both of these on. Maybe it needs to be in a layer. Let's do that. Let's do that. Yeah, man, you're gonna have to limit yourself to like the top ones or something. Let the community vote, and then like the top the top 20 or something. You'll I don't know how you can do it. Good luck. Well, I gotta say, that's pretty frustrating. Works on some of them, but not others. Works on some of them, but not others. It's always some kind of bizarre interaction with a signal or a coroutine or something. An animation player is doing something, and it's just difficult to reason about those things because they're happening out of sequence. But I don't know what that would be in this case. I'm not seeing it. What is this? Can pick up timer. Half second can pick up timer. Wait, start. Can pick up timer. You know what I need to do is I need to check this in range value. Let's do that real quick. Let's just make sure. Let's see if these guys in my test level here, these three are all in range. So they should have in range equals true. Right, and I can check that by looking at the remote tree. Pick up in range range is true. In range is true. In range is true. Maybe it's this. Let me see. No. Oh, they're sleeping. They're asleep. They're asleep. Physics bodies can go to sleep. When they're asleep, they don't do anything. They're asleep. And they get woken up by colliding with something. But my pickups, they don't collide with anything. So they'll never wake up. I need to just uncheck that. All right, if this works, I'm going to surprise you guys with a little droopy music. I'll probably do that anyway. So these should fly into the player. Oh my lord. So it worked sometimes and not other times because some of them were asleep and some of them weren't. Because some of them I picked up before they fell asleep and some of them I didn't. All right, that works. So converted this into a rigid body and moved its area 2D for getting sucked up by the player into an area 2D, which is a child of the original area rigid body. So this was originally, it's on this upper layer, but because I changed this to a rigid body, I need to put this into make it a child. And then this area 2D has this big collision area, so that when the player enters this area, then the behavior of the coin changes and it flies right to the player. And then because this is a rigid body, I don't need to do any of that physics query stuff I was doing before. I don't have to do any of it. I can just try and place these wherever I like, and the engine will separate the two physics bodies because physics bodies can't overlap. Rigid bodies aren't allowed to overlap. So it tries to separate them automatically. The engine just does it. So I don't need to have any of that code. I just create 10 of them. 10 of them get created. The engine goes brrr. Magic. Yeah. Awesome. And then this, I think I want to increase this velocity a little bit. What it's doing is it's saying, give me a random direction. Give me a random vector. That's weird. Give me a random vector rotated through 2 pi, right? This will be a unit vector rotated in a circle, so it's just a random direction. And then it says set the velocity to this, some random value. Let's say that. So what it'll do now is it'll say the velocity of each pickup will be a random value between 0 and 50 plus 50. So that'll effectively make the value of the linear velocity somewhere between 50 and 100. And then it just multiplies its random direction by that velocity. So you end up with a random direction and the velocity will be between 50 and 100. So what that'll do, let's make it, so this will be between 100 and 200, right? We're upping the velocity a little bit. What that'll do, I'm hoping, is it'll make the coins separate a little more because they'll bounce off the walls a little bit and kind of spread out some more. They won't be so clumped up. these should vacuum right in. And then I'll kill this guy. Yeah, and they didn't separate very well. Why not? Why didn't they separate very well? They only collided the world. Probably something about my... Yeah, it's this. This is like a damping factor. This is trying to separate themselves from each other. I think I can remove this. I can also remove this. Because I had to do this before because this was an area 2D, but now that it's a rigid body, I don't need to set its position. I just need to set its velocity, and the position will take care of itself. All right, let's try that. Create another one. Let's create some targets. Let's blow some stuff up. Yeah, see how they're separating out there? This is too much. But, oh, they're just flying away. But I like how they're bouncing off the walls and stuff. So this is where I need that damping factor, right? I took out that damping. And that's where I wanted to add here in the physics material. Oh no. Here, linear damp. Should be, I don't even know what these values mean. Like, what's the range? 0 to 100. Let's do that and see what it does. So that means as they move, they'll start to slow down. Those don't seem to be slowing down. I might have to restart it again. Hey, Wallaber and friends. Welcome, everybody. You guys do Godot engine game development, pixel art? What are you here for? I mean, gosh, that sounded rude. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. I'm doing Godot engine development. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. All right, so that worked. So see how they're sticking close together? Because that damp factor is working. It's working too well. Let's turn this way down to 1 and see how that works. Again, I have to restart it. It's annoying. Alright, I'm probably going to stop messing around with this damping thing and do something else in a minute because... Oh yeah, see, look at that. Look at that. That works for me. Boom. And they spread out and they're not in the wall. Oh, that felt good. That felt satisfying. Yeah, so I... yeah, you can't say that. Not as juicy as this. Yeah, you like that? That's my dog. As Vim says, I do everything turned up to 11. Yeah, so I think what I want you to do is I just need to mess around with these values a little bit. The damping value, the velocity values. and just retune them all. I would like these things to spread out a little faster initially, and then slow down very quickly. Rather than oozing out, I want them to explode out and then come to a halt, right? So I need to rework the physics of them a little bit. Oh, I love that. Need to rework the physics of it a little bit. It's just changing some numbers around. That's boring. So let's look at this. Let's look at this. This is, so Droopy Music. I don't know if he's still here. Hey, thanks for the follow. Droopy Music does my music. And he's been doing great. And this is one of the latest tracks I'm going to play for you. Hey, there he is. This is Broken Drone. And then, which one was it? This one. This one's the pumped up one. Yeah, go check out Droopy Music if you guys need music for your game. All right, you guys. So I am feeling it is perfect, right? I'm feeling like we accomplished a lot today. We made a good start on the coin problem. Bing, right? Now I need to just work on the art a little bit, make them a little bit easier to see. And then I'm going to do this later, maybe next time. The idea is to make the coins mean something. And the astronauts as well, when you pick them up. And my thought is, if you pick up 10 coins, it doubles your gun power for 5 seconds or so. And if you pick up an astronaut, he goes to work on your shields and lets you absorb extra hits for 5 seconds or so. So you'll have a strong reason for wanting to pick those things up. They make you more powerful for a little bit of time, other than just the points. For the folks that just showed up, let me show you the thing that I'm pretty proud of this. I just finished this up today, the level chooser screen. And so what you're looking at here is this sector that I've finished. I've completed all the levels in here. As you unlock the sectors by collecting all the reactor cores, you see this sector I've collected 6 out of 6. It's green. And now I can play sector 2 where I've collected 3 out of 6. I haven't collected the reactors here or here. Once I play this one will unlock. And after I collect these 3 reactor cores, this will turn green. And then I can play these levels. And then, so in here I added this long range scan, which is, I'm really happy with the way that turned out. This is a procedural 3D asteroid. So it's a 3D mesh that I created in Godot. It's procedurally deformed with a shader. There's a procedural texture applied to it. And then it's put into a 2D viewport so I can mix it in with my 2D scene. Just to give you a little atmosphere, I guess, right? Of where you're headed next. And I fixed all the controls too. So you see this button here in the corner. When I touch the gamepad, it switches to gamepad controls. And it's all just pretty seamless. You can just go back and forth between mouse and keyboard and gamepad anytime you like. And those controls show up on a bunch of different screens. Like how to play, for example. And watch, I'll touch the mouse. See that? Touch the gamepad. Ah, I love it. And so even though these are procedural and random, it uses the same seed each time. So it looks the same each time you come to the level. And these will work with player-generated levels as well. Yeah, it's Xbox only right now, but I mean, since I've come this far, I obviously need to add PlayStation controller buttons as well. I'm drawing the line at that though. I'm not going to do Nintendo buttons. But yeah, I might take your route, Vim, and change the A and B into the cross, you know? But I think for right now, I like the way the B looks. So I might add buttons for square, triangle, circle. We'll see. I can detect if it's a PlayStation controller, I think. I don't know. Maybe PlayStation people, though, know that they're second-class citizens on PC. And they know when it's B, they know to push square. Yeah, go for it. If you have a dance pad, guitar, whatever. Anyway, yeah, I'm feeling good right now. Made a lot of progress today. And I'm really happy that this turned out so well, actually. Converting this into a rigid body was not the nightmare I thought it would be. And I trusted my instinct, and I wrote a bunch of code in here that just felt wrong. And I trusted my instincts and said, no, let's find a better way. And we did. We found a better way. It feels good. So I'm going to end it right there. I've got some chicken wings, some buffalo wings waiting for me. If you are new, please give me a follow. Come check me out on Twitter. Go to gravityace.com and join our Discord server if you're interested. Happy to talk about anything, answer questions, gab about game development or chess or video games or whatever. Yeah, please tell everybody you know about the game. I would really appreciate it. Looking forward to a launch in early access pretty soon, maybe next month. So yeah. Thanks again for dropping in, everybody. Have a good week, and I will see you when I stream again this coming Thursday. This coming Thursday will be the next stream. Alrighty. Take it easy, everybody.